Is the state ready to proceed? Your Honor, we are, but prior to proceeding, may I introduce myself and my co-counsel, and then give the defense counsel a chance to make their appearances. You may. Your Honor, my name is Kimberly Drake, and I, with my co-counsel, J.C. Napoli, represent the state of Alexandria in today's case. Would you like to give the defense counsel a chance to make their appearances now, Your Honor? Assume yes. Would Your Honor like a courtesy copy of the case file? Would Your Honor like a brief summary of the case? Your Honor, this case involves the murder of Mr. Taylor Gray. In the early morning hours of February 21st, 2016, Mr. Gray was asleep in bed when he was shot in the back of the head with a 12-gauge shotgun. Mr. Gray's wife, Mrs. Blake Gray, is the defendant in today's case. The defendant claims she was asleep in bed next to her husband at the time of the shooting. Today, she's being tried on the charge of first-degree murder. Your Honor, it's our understanding that the federal rules of evidence and the federal rules of criminal procedure apply in today's case. Your Honor, when we need to argue outside the hearing of the jury, may we make argument from counsel's table without asking leave of the court each time, or would you prefer that we ask to approach constructively each time? Your Honor, may we move freely about the well, have permission to freely move the podium, and approach witnesses without asking leave of the court? Your Honor, we anticipate that there will be multiple expert witnesses called in today's case. Some judges prefer that before a witness gives expert testimony, counsel tender the witness as an expert. Do we have the court's permission to treat witnesses as an expert upon establishing the witness's qualifications without formal tender? Thank you. Counsel has agreed to pre-admit exhibits N, G, and H. Accordingly, we introduce these exhibits into evidence at this time. Your Honor, counsel has agreed to 4 stipulations in this case, which can be found on page 2 of the case file. Moving on to exhibits and opening, Your Honor. Your Honor, we request permission to display Exhibit G to the jury during opening statements. We have talked to opposing counsel, and they have no issue or objections to the use of Exhibit G, but we have a good faith basis that Exhibit G will be admitted in today's trial, so we ask that you allow us to display it during opening statements. With that, Your Honor, we are ready to move on to motions in limine. We have 1 motion to present to the court today. Your Honor, the state respectfully moves to exclude any testimony related to the defendant's allegations against Devin Gray. By way of background, Your Honor, Mrs. Blake Gray has alleged that Devin Gray, 1, was emotionally abusive, 2, had an issue with alcohol, 3, threatened to kill Taylor Gray after a custody hearing, 4, said that no one can raise her daughter Dakota better than her, and it's only a matter of time until she gets Dakota back, and neither Blake Gray nor Taylor are there to ruin her life anymore. And finally, that Devin Gray believes that Taylor Gray cheated on her with Blake Gray and hates both of them. Now, Your Honor, pursuant to rules of evidence, the Florida Rules of Evidence 90.403 and 90.1052, and Federal Rules of Evidence 403 and 104B, when relevance depends on a fact, proof must be introduced sufficient to support a finding that that fact exists. Now, the defendant has offered no proof beyond her own testimony that these things about Devin Gray are true. The defense is trying to point a finger at Devin Gray, but Devin Gray was investigated and cleared, and Devin Gray is not the one on trial here today. Now, Federal Rule of Evidence 403 allows the court to exclude even relevant evidence if its probative value is substantially outweighed by the risk of misleading the jury, confusing the issue, or unfair prejudice, or wasting the court's time. The evidence in question isn't relevant because it isn't reliable. Additionally, even if it were relevant, it should be excluded because it will inflame the passions of the jury, it will confuse the issue, and it's going to waste the court's time. The defendant will try to garner sympathy from the jury through these unsubstantiated allegations, but Blake Gray is not the victim here. will then have to spend a significant amount of time ensuring that the jury understands the lack of reliability surrounding these allegations. Thank you, Your Honor.